Money in the Bank is right around the corner, and I'm kind of spiraling about who could walk away with this shiny little briefcase. Because look, this year, it's honestly wide open. There's so many people who could win, and honestly, I'm not mad about any of them. Multiple options here would shake things up in all the right ways. But if you know me, you know I have thoughts, and one person I think that could really make this thing feel dangerous is someone who's long overdue for that defining moment, and that is none other than Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross has quietly become one of the most intriguing and misunderstood figures in WWE. He didn't have a spot on the WrestleMania 41 card in his hometown of Las Vegas, but instead of disappearing or going silent, Kross turned the moment into something really powerful. He released a mini personal documentary that pulled the curtain back on his journey, his frustration, and his own determination to rise. That one move got people talking, that and the match he had with AJ Styles the week prior, but it showed that Kross doesn't just wait around for a push. He is fully capable of making his own moments. Because let's not forget, this is a guy who's endured multiple rebrands, questionable creative and stop-start momentum, and yet through it all, he's found a way to evolve, survive, and quietly rebuild his own aura. He's no longer just a spooky character with cool entrance music. He's layered, he's gritty, he's earned a second look. And with a briefcase in his hands, he wouldn't just be a background threat, he'd be a psychological time bomb. Imagine Kross creeping in the background while Cody Rhodes celebrates a hard-fought win, or Kross stepping into Gunther's path with that cold, emotionless stare of his. The briefcase gives Kross the long game storytelling potential that he thrives in. He doesn't need to rush, he just needs to wait for the right moment and strike with purpose. But let's not act like Kross is the only option. This year's men's Money in the Bank match could be loaded with talent, and honestly, there are some wild directions that WWE could take if they choose to. If WWE wants to build its future today, Bron Breakker is the perfect candidate. He's got the genetics, the intensity, and a presence that makes you believe he could rip the door off the main event scene. But here's the best part of that scenario. What if Seth Rollins becomes champion again? Remember, Rollins made history when he cashed in the briefcase at WrestleMania 31 and is in what is still considered one of the greatest Money in the Bank moments of all time, the heist of the century. Now imagine Braun lurking in the shadows, ready to do the same thing to him. Seth has seemingly taken Braun under his wing, along with Paul Heyman, and it's a move I think was needed. But when is the right time for the student to strike the master? Now, I think, is too soon. But down the road, that's not just a cash-in, that would be a legacy-defining moment. The next generation taking down the past in poetic fashion. The karma, the symbolism, chef's kiss. You want chaos? You want the internet to have a meltdown? Then put the briefcase in CM Punk's hands. Punk doesn't need the case to stay relevant, but give it to him, and every champion in the company sleeps a little less soundly. Remember, Punk even teased the idea of taking the title off John Cena, and whether he meant it or not, it immediately got people talking. All it took was a story post on Instagram, a revisit to the CM Punk versus John Cena rivalry. I'm 1000% on board, because let's not forget, their legendary 2011 Money in the Bank match in Chicago where Punk walked out of the company with the WWE Championship and blew a kiss to Vince McMahon as he escaped through the crowd. That match wasn't just a 5-star classic. It was kind of a cultural reset for WWE storytelling. God, for wrestling storytelling in general. Punk could tease cash-ins on Raw, show up on SmackDown, drop pipe bombs on everyone. Punk with power and unpredictability is a license to print money and controversy, which he's great at. And if Cena is in the conversation as well, the story writes itself. Not to mention, Punk is on fire in this era. The crowd on the May 19th edition of Raw popped the loudest I've heard in quite a while. And not only that, they sang a song long after the music stopped, just like at France Backlash. It's poetic as fuck. Solo is in a very different place now than he even was a year ago. Post-Bloodline, the power dynamic around him has been a little messy to say the least, because Jacob Fatu stormed on the scene and has recently aligned himself as a new powerhouse in the family hierarchy, and that's made Solo's position a little shaky. And now they've added Jeff Cobb, or now JC Mateo, into the mix, another dominant force who's yet to really prove himself, but could potentially be another threat to Solo standing down the line, even if he doesn't realize it just yet. The tension in this new version of the Bloodline is palpable, and Solo is clearly struggling to maintain control of something that once felt like it was his destiny to lead. But here's where the Money in the Bank briefcase could be his redemption arc. This could be Solo's way to take back control, to prove he's more than just a follower or a shadow of Roman Reigns. What if Solo uses the briefcase to take the title off his own brother, Jey Uso? The emotional weight alone, one brother rising while the other falls, would make for an unforgettable storyline, because it's personal, it's layered, it's raw. And that hasn't been wrapped up yet between him, Jey, or even Jimmy. The briefcase would give Solo something that's his and his alone. He's the little brother, he's been in the shadow. It'd be something that's not inherited, something that's not handed down, something he earned. And with it, he may finally get his groove back, because Jacob has really thrown him off his axis. So with that, let's switch gears to the women's side, because this year's Money in the Bank match might just be as unpredictable, and potentially just as iconic. Granted, I do often struggle with my picks on the women's end every year, but this year, I feel the most confident in where I'm thinking. We've got to talk about the level up Naomi has been on. She left WWE back in 2022 in solidarity with Sasha Banks, went to TNA, completely reinvented herself, and reminded people that she's not just athletic and charismatic, she's championship material. Now she's back in WWE, and she's different. She's not just glowing, she's fierce. She carries herself with this fearless edge and confidence that screams, I've seen the other side, and I'm back for everything they said I couldn't have. Give Naomi the briefcase and let her cook. Let her take the spotlight she's always deserved. She could build a slow feud with someone like Bayley or Io Sky. She could shock the world and cash it in at SummerSlam. The possibilities are endless. And if she gets the briefcase, everyone should proceed with caution. I honestly, selfishly, would really love to see her run a program with not only Jade Cargill, because we've seen that, but also Bianca Belair. A Bianca Belair as champion with a Naomi cash-in, I understand they're on the same brand right now or whatever. I don't know if the draft has happened. Who knows what's going on with that? I still want to see it. Now, we can't count out Jade Cargill either. She's still newer to WWE, but she's already commanding every camera she walks in front of, and also showed that she can shine at WrestleMania. You don't look at Jade and wonder if she belongs. You look at her and go, oh, how soon until she's winning a title? Because that's the question I've been asking. Giving Jade the briefcase would instantly skyrocket her trajectory. She doesn't need to rush the cash-in. In fact, the longer she holds it, the more dangerous she becomes. And when she finally does cash in, it would feel like an earthquake, the perfect storm. Jade versus Rhea. Jade versus Bianca. Come on. You could print those posters. I actually added this the last minute, but another name worth bringing up is Alexa Bliss. She's a former Money in the Bank winner, and with her recent return, there's definitely renewed excitement around her. Alexa has always had the ability to reinvent herself, and there's no denying that she's a fan favorite with the charisma to carry a storyline. If she were to win again, she'd make history as the first ever two-time winner of the women's Money in the Bank match. That's a big deal. It would be a great way to reestablish her as a serious player in the women's division. But at the same time, and this is where I'm torn, part of me wants to see someone new get that spotlight. Not even just new to the company, but just someone who hasn't won it before. Someone who hasn't had the briefcase. Someone who could use it to launch them into the next tier of superstardom. Still, Alexa with the briefcase again, it's an intriguing possibility, and I'm not ruling it out 100%. With all that being said, I keep circling back to Karrion Kross, because there's just something about his current run that feels like it needs that one final ingredient. Sometimes it's like that with people. The briefcase would give him the presence, the threat, and the flexibility to enter the title scene his way on his terms. And I guarantee you, he'd make it his own. He's not the loudest, he's not the flashiest, but he's undeniable when he's locked in. And with the right creative direction, Kross could be the kind of cerebral, dangerous champion that we haven't seen in years. Maybe he's ready. They just got to pull the trigger. So now I'm throwing it to you. Who do you think should win Money in the Bank 2025 from both the men's and women's side? Do you want to see Karrion Kross get his moment? Bron Breakker deliver poetic justice to Seth Rollins? CM Punk bask in his glory? Naomi climb the ladder and terrorize the women's division? Or Jade Cargill launch herself straight into legend status? Drop your thoughts, fantasy cash-ins, and dream feuds in the comments. And don't forget, Money in the Bank 2025 is happening Saturday, June 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And with that, give us a thumbs up if you like our video, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell notification button to be notified of all future videos. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.